Welcome to the never-ending random discussion bonus content.
He got to announce the welcome. He's never done that before.
I was gonna say,
took it from you. Like, you were ready, and then you just went, no.
You took it. And we're leaving
I was
this.
gonna say, oh, we absolutely are leaving that in there.
Yeah, you have to let him have that.
I was gonna say, Merlot got one, I got one.
Yeah. We made an executive decision.
Yes.
So all that stuff we missed, we're doing now.
Yeah. Okay, so Adam Carolla was being sued by a patent troll.
Oh.
Because this guy claimed that he owned, basically having things have episodes.
Episodic content.
And then having people find out about it automatically. And so he sued a bunch of prominent podcasters. The one that got the most attention being Adam Carolla. Well, he has now dropped that suit against Adam Carolla, which is a good thing, because there's no money in podcasts.
Which they actually dropped it a while ago.
But he
Adam said, "Fuck you, patent troll," and kept it going.
Just tied him up in litigation.
With his countersuits and everything.
Fucking A, good for him.
Yeah.
All I see is money being thrown around.
But Adam finally got bored, it looks like, and now it's officially done.
Yeah, and they do still have a lawsuit pending against CBS, NBC, and Fox. I just love the fact that they wanted to drop the lawsuit because there wasn't any money in podcasts.
And there really, unfortunately, isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, podcasts are all basically done with any... Like, it doesn't matter who you are. You could be, like, 4 people around a microphone like we are right now. You could be, I don't know, Steve Austin. You could be... Who? I don't know. Who are some other prominent... Chris Hardwick. Mm-hmm. You could be...
Who's here?
Welcome to the show, Chris Hardwick.
He's in a very quiet mood today.
He's
also in a very posy mood today. But it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, like the podcasts are great, but you don't really make any money from them.
I don't do this because I want money out of it. I do it because it's fun.
I do it because I want money out of it. Eventually, that's the end goal.
Yeah. But yeah, there's no real money in podcasts right now. Somebody might come up with something about it, you know, like that YouTube Music Key thing. Who knows? Maybe that could help out. You know, if people start making more money off of... Yeah, if people start making money off of it, yeah, bueno.
You know what makes money off podcasts? Pocket Casts.
Yeah, true, because I keep forgetting that it's a paid app because I paid for it like as soon as I saw the screenshots of it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
$5 is too steep for me. What was it for? Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll buy it for you.
I was going to say, it is completely 100% worth it.
I listen to our podcasts, and then like Solomonster Sounds Off, which is a wrestling podcast. All this stuff on MLW Radio, which are all wrestling podcasts, which I already pay for. I have their VIP subscription. It's like $15 a year. And then I listen to the CCS podcast, and theirs is free, and that's all I listen to. There's no reason, like, it's a waste of money for me.
I actually didn't listen to half the podcasts that I listened to before I got Pocket Cast.
Yep.
Finding a podcast that you're interested in, so much easier.
Yep. Yeah, like when I got Pocket Cast, I would listen to Nerdist occasionally, like every 30th episode, and I would listen to the Droid Life and Android Central podcasts. But that was it. I've now got like 30 podcasts in my feed, and I never run out of things to listen to. I used to actually listen to Audible all the time, but I find myself skipping books because there's so many interesting podcasts to listen to. Yeah, I cannot thank that app enough. And it's damn pretty.
Well, how is Audible? Because I know that Solomonster has a deal through... he like you can do like if you sign up for the trial with his name, he gets a little bit of a kickback.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Audible as a service is great. It's Amazon, so as a service it's great. But also since it's Amazon, its app is shit. Its app is really terrible. Like when I launch into Audible, it spawns a notification, an ongoing notification that will not go away. I haven't started playing anything yet, but that notification, and by extension the app itself, will remain running until I actually go in and close it.
There are a lot of apps out there that are like Steam, the Steam app and the Skype apps are both like that.
And those are both really good examples of really badly designed apps. Apps shouldn't do that. You know, Skype and Steam both have a reason for that. They have a chat component that needs to have an ongoing service for it to work.
Okay.
So those make sense. This doesn't have that. The only thing this notification does is say, you can press play. And if you
gotta do it anyway.
If you don't have an episode, if you don't have a book loaded, it'll say, no books loaded. It'll keep this app running nonstop. Fucking your battery. There's been times that I've left it not playing on in my locker at work and had it run through my battery. Just get back 4 hours later, no battery left. So I love Audible as a service. I hate Audible as an app.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I do subscribe to Audible. I don't regret subscribing to Audible. And if I had a Kindle, I would regret it even less, because you can actually synchronize it to where if you're reading a book and then you want to listen to it in the car, it'll pick up where you were reading.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get out of the car and you want to start reading on your Kindle again, it'll go back to where you were when you were listening.
Okay.
So something like that makes me actually want to get a Kindle. Because trying to find my place between Google Play Books, where I read on my phone, and Audible, where I listen on my phone, is a bitch.
Well, if anybody is interested in that app, if you go to audibletrial.com/Solomonster, that would help him out. I listen to his content every week on Sundays, so if anybody wants to pick it up or wants to give it a shot, you get one free audiobook for it. So
Funny enough, we actually applied to be one of those people that got a kickback for getting people to go to Audible, but they told us to go away. So I find it a little funny we're giving Audible
So much
a lot of good press.
We're also
right now.
talking a lot of shit about their app.
Well, on my end of it, I really enjoy Solomonster's stuff and artists supporting artists type thing. So I'm less about Audible and more about the Solomonster.
Yeah. I would like to, I'd like to plug audiblepodcast.com/WTF because it's a fucking awesome URL. That's the WTF with Mark Maron podcast.
Okay.
He's an asshole in the best possible way. I just love the fact that the actual URL is /WTF.
And I would like to plug a website real quick, bit.ly/linkinthedoobly-doo.
Where does that... I redirected that one to the Vlogbrothers website. That one goes to the Vlogbrothers video feed.
It is their thing.
Yes. What was the other one that I did? bit.ly/ratgogo.
Yeah,
Links directly
Ratgogo.
to the... no, it's not RACKGoGo.
Oh, is it?
RACK-GoGo goes
Oh.
straight to the blooper video.
Oh, right on.
And then, yeah, the RACKGoGo just goes to our fundraiser.
Fundraiser, do it.
Yes.
We're running out of time.
So, scientists have discovered 2 ancient Mayan cities,
Man.
deep in the Mexican jungle. Like, they looked at satellite photography.
Welcome to the jungle.
And they've got cities there. And yeah, they found these 2 that they knew were going to be somewhere in the general region based on, I'm assuming, maps or something. But they are from the year 600. Yeah, they are from 600 to 1000 AD, and at each site they have found palace-like buildings, pyramids, and plazas. One of the pyramids being almost 65 feet high.
Oh.
And they just found it in the jungle.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah, I find this stuff
That
to be
was
really
actually
cool.
very appropriate. I usually don't hear it said appropriately.
No, it wasn't meant to be said appropriately.
Well, you did, so there it is.
Take it and like it.
But yeah, I mean, like, they've found, like, big head arches, you know, like the Mayan heads that are arches. They found those. It's just really cool to find these cities that have been lost for like 1,000 years. It's really cool finding that through just satellite photography.
Would satellite photography be considered?
Well, I
what I
think
wanna
since it's
know.
from such a high perspective, it means that God took it.
No, definitely a robot. So
Either way.
It could be a robot god. They could be reapers.
Godbot! Don't let it be Reapers. Oh God, don't let it be Reapers.
I'd like to note that apparently the only way that they'll be able to find additional discoveries of these cities is if people give them more money. Because apparently we don't find this as big of a priority that we can't just go in there and do it without tons and tons of money being beyond.
They should get on Kickstarter.
There needs to be a science-based Kickstarter. Just a bunch of grad students doing these science things.
Yeah. science things.
Grant me.
Grant
Grant me.
That would be perfect. Oh my god, somebody needs to make that.
I'm gonna make a bit link for it.
Do it.
Okay, so this story makes me sad because I misread the title of the article. I read it as genetically altered pig heart survives more than a year inside bacon. Turns out it was actually a baboon.
That is kind of a letdown.
There's a little bit of a different baboon bacon.
No, it wasn't even like they were using it as a heart. They just had it in the baboon's abdomen.
What?
So basically, it's like they took a hard drive and stuck it in a computer and didn't hook it up to anything.
Well, no, it got power. It was still spinning, apparently. But the idea for it is to... The reason we care about pig hearts and baboon stomachs, to lift from the Washington Post, is the ultimate goal is to have hybrid organs for human transplant. So, like, pig heart valves are kind of commonly used in human hearts.
Not even commonly, or not even kind of. They are pretty damn common.
Yeah. And they've been using that for decades. This would basically say you could, like... you could create organs from scratch and then put it into a pig and just leave it there as a pig as the storage solution.
Huh.
And then when you need to do a heart transplant for someone, you just sacrifice the pig on the altar of science and take that heart and put it in someone.
Well, that's a little bit disappointing because I figured they just put like a handle on it and then you just open it up and grab the heart out that you need and then just close it back up.
They could genetically alter pigs to have that. I mean, maybe with like a window there so you can watch it as it grows.
See,
Yeah.
they just need Go
Like
Grant
the
Me for
cats.
that.
Well, I think it's really cool. In here it also says that scientists are focusing on creating organs from scratch by using a 3D
printer
and stem cells to create organs.
Uh-huh.
That's
Basically, you
pretty rad.
use the 3D printer to create like a scaffold,
Mhm.
and then just like paint stem cells on it, and they go, "Oh, I'm a heart."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it says that, too.
It does the thing.
See the bubble? Yeah, yeah. Hashtag Groot Crate.
Groot Crate.
Groot Crate. I like that better.
I would sign up for Groot Crate. I would do multiple months of Groots. Why aren't we sponsored by these people we keep plugging? God damn it. Okay, so this is another one that I was kind of excited by and then disappointed by. Life was found on the outside of the International Space Station.
Other side of it?
On the outside of it. On the space side of
There's
it.
plankton
That guy
growing
needs
on-
to not be outside there, then.
Yeah, the plankton. It's plankton, though. It's not like aliens.
Not
Unless...
SpongeBob.
Is it like actually like sea plankton or is it like
Yeah.
space plankton?
They're saying it's sea
Well, it's
plankton.
in space. See, that's the thing. We don't know. This could be the start of, this could be our first contact with aliens and we never knew it. Plankton might all be aliens. Our ocean is filled with all these fucking aliens.
So long, and thanks for all the fish.
Yeah, exactly. So long and thanks to all the other aliens we get to eat, bitch.
Wow.
Or plankton started here and then colonized space.
Yeah, little do we know, they're all just wondering what these big things are walking
Well-
around on the ground when they just colonized the universe.
It says here they claim the plankton were not carried there by launch, but are thought to have been blown there by air currents on Earth.
Uh-huh.
So they're not aliens. They're just
Yeah.
I told you they started here.
they're little astronauts.
And now they're gonna go colonize the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're
Well,
doing it
that's-
before we do.
Not to just do a complete lift from Neil deGrasse Tyson, but one thing he talks about is scale. Like, people think the International Space Station is way the hell up there. If you have a classroom globe, the atmosphere is less thick than the shellac on the outside of the globe. And the International Space Station is an inch away from a normal classroom-sized globe. And the moon is 30 feet away.
I love how he breaks down scale and the cosmos on a whole bunch of things
Yeah.
to make it like understandable.
But so
Good job.
it's
Yeah,
only
thumbs
when it's
up to
only
you,
an
sir.
inch away from the surface, you can totally see plankton making its way there. It does kind of lead to some for science if they're talking about doing all these tests out there, and they're still close enough that they can get animals from Earth landing on the outside of their space station. They might need to come up with a better plan. I was also really hoping it would be tardigrades. Because I know they have taken tardigrades into space. They're called water bears. They're multicellular organisms.
Super adorable.
That are super adorable.
Yeah.
But you can expose them to the vacuum of space and then take them back to Earth and rehydrate them, and they just go about their merry little ways.
Like sea monkeys?
Yeah, and well, the funny thing is there are these things that are super adapted that you can heat them to hundreds of degrees. You can freeze them to damn near absolute zero and then just rehydrate them, and they're perfectly fine. And they have no evolutionary reason to do this because what they do on Earth is they sit on moss and lick water off of it. And yet these things are hardy enough that you can literally expose them to the vacuum of space and they're fine. They're like Star-Lord that way.
Based in only a little bit of science.
But yeah, it's still a pretty cool story. It's just not as cool as I was hoping it would be. There are no aliens and there are no tardigrades.
Or bacon.
Or bacon. Yeah, this entire science segment has been a disappointment.
As they all are. Aww.
Well,
they know I don't. They know I don't care for the science portion. I kind of tune out.
He doesn't read. He doesn't science. He's just not an academic at all.
Did
No.
you see?
I
Okay.
don't need no academics. I got street smarts. Yeah.
don't need none.
That's
no.
the black in him.
So
I
I'm
have to make at least one racist comment a podcast.
Yeah, no, that does.
You better cut that out with the shitstorm that's going around in the internet right now.
There's a shitstorm? Oh.
There's a lot of them,
Ferguson
actually.
might show up at your door. Just
Have you seen Sharp's new phone? That is like,
Sharp is coming out with a phone?
Sharp is coming out with a phone.
Like, as in the TV folks?
Yes.
Sharp.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've not.
They used to make cordless phones.
It's really cool in that
I
it
didn't
has
know
like no bezel. This is a picture.
Okay, real quick, what the fuck is bezel? I have not been on a podcast to ask you about this. I have no idea what the fuck bezel is, and you keep talking about it.
See that space between the screen and the side of the phone?
Not really. It's the I can't see my glasses.
Okay, look at the monitor.
I'm like Johnny Bravo. I can't be seen without my glasses.
Okay, see the monitor? The
No,
black thing?
so basically like the white space
Yes.
here? Okay.
The space around the screen that isn't the screen is the bezel.
Okay.
And that's why
Now
if you
I'm on
put a
board.
bigger screen in a phone and you subtract the bezel, the phone can stay the same size, so it doesn't matter that it's a bigger screen.
Okay.
Look at this phone, though.
That phone though.
That bezel, though. It's like I can't see it. Everything's
I
red.
can't see my glasses.
So
what I'm looking at as far as like, so that's the actual screen then.
And then you can see there's just that little sliver of bezel around it, and then there's a giant chin. There really is a very large chin.
What's with the Jay Leno chins on some of these phones coming out?
I know, right? I mean, like, even this phone has it. Like the phone that I'm using and also the phone that I'm showing on this phone that I'm using.
Oh, chinception.
Now, see, what's sad about this is Sharp is releasing 2 models.
That
and-
actually even had the in, so it was Inception with chinception.
Yep, it's there.
It's
That's my
Inception,
next
Inception. Sharp is releasing 2 models of this phone. One of which has like a Snapdragon 400 and a 5-inch 720p screen and just a bunch of shitty specs.
Shitty specs.
And then they're also releasing one that's a 5.5-inch 1080p screen with a Snapdragon 801 and like 3 gigs of RAM. That's a super awesome device. And that one's not being released in America.
Nice.
And the one that is being released in America is being released on the shittiest carrier in the world.
That's funny because they are skipping the high spec flagship in the country that sells all the high flagships, and they're putting that out in the countries that don't.
Well, they're putting it out in Japan, and Japan does do flagships.
Yeah.
But no, they're releasing it only on prepaid with Sprint.
Really?
Yeah. Now, sure, Sharp is not a company that's known for name recognition, and I was listening to the Android Police podcast on the way here.
I'll be right back.
They brought up a really good point.
That goes there.
They brought up a really good point, which is this phone's never going to get software updates.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen because Sharp is not a software company. Sharp is a company that makes screens. This is not a device that's exciting as a device. This is a tech demo that they're also selling to the public.
Huh.
This is them saying, what would be really cool is if you took our screens and put them in your phones like this, see what you can do? And hoping that someone like Samsung or Motorola or HTC or any of them.
Are you British now?
I was listening to another British person on a podcast. So I'm
Every
saying
time.
H.
The quick sidebar, like whenever I listen to the videogamer.com podcast or I hear B-Mass talk
You start saying H.
When they say H, I always giggle a little.
What about Zed?
I've never heard Zed.
Canadians.
Oh yeah, and British people.
Oh yeah.
They talk about the Xperia Zed. Yeah.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
I feel like
something
this is, or Sony could release this. Sony's been doing some really cool things with phones that don't get released in America.
Well, and that's the thing too, is Sony is a Japanese company and they always keep all their cool shit in Japan.
Yeah.
That's why we have, 6 Gundam games in the States?
It's also kind of why they're not making much money right now.
Well, yeah, it's like we said a few weeks back, or a couple months back, whenever it was, that the only company, or the only division they have that's turning a profit is their games division.
Yep. But I would buy a phone with this kind of a screen if it wasn't this phone. I would love to have a 6-inch phone that fits in a normal phone-sized thing because there weren't any bezels. But then the question is, when you're holding this, your hand is kind of wrapped around it. If there's no bezel there, your fingers are going to be touching it.
And I already have a big enough problem with that on the GS5 when I'm when I've got say my daughter in my arm, I'm trying to scroll something one-handed.
And your thumb hits it too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's even worse for left-handed people because everything is set up for right
Yeah.
hand. So if you try and... I delete things that I'm trying to type all the
That
time.
is discriminatory.
It is. Should have an alternate.
I was
side.
bowling with 2 left-handed people yesterday.
How'd that
They're
go?
the people that get screwed because the holes are all drilled for right-handed people.
Well, I don't know.
With the
I
middle
bowled
finger hole
left-handed,
larger
it's
than
fine.
the other hole. Yeah.
We adjust. Same with scissors.
Well, I mean, sure, they kicked my ass. They completely kicked my ass. To be fair, but I also hadn't played since 2003.
Okay, so, no laughter. Did they bring their own balls?
No.
Okay.
None of us did.
No laughter!
I used to have my own. I used to have my
Balls.
own ball. High five. I used to have my own ball and my own shoes because I played a lot, but I haven't played since I moved here from Las Vegas.
What? I was laughing at her face.
I was itching my
That is
nose.
rude! Why would you be laughing at her face? Stephanie is beautiful. Don't let him tell you otherwise. Asshole.
There's humor in all of this.
Will is a feminist.
Ooh.
Okay, do you want to talk about carrier bullshit some more?
Let's talk about some more carrier bullshit.
Okay, Verizon is rumored to be making their own app store.
Again?
Again! Fucking why?
We have enough.
Didn't the VCast store suck enough for them? Don't they put enough shit on our phones already?
They're trying to make more money.
This is one that would be a
because when you have enough money to buy the earth and all the heavens, you need more money.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is rumored to be a subscription service where you would say, I'll pay $5 a month for... Actually, no. That's what Sprint is doing that. I don't even know what the Verizon one is. Oh, the Verizon one's worse. Okay, the Sprint one, we'll talk about the Sprint one. It's a stupid one.
We'll talk about
The Sprint one is stupid. The Verizon one is worse. The Sprint one is you pay $5 a month and you get access to the apps that are in its library.
So these are Sprint-specific apps.
Well, no, there'd be one that they showed in the advertisement is Camera Zoom FX.
Okay.
It's actually
a paid app.
a pretty good camera, and it's pretty expensive if I remember correctly. And you would pay $5 a month, and depending on how many apps you had installed, it would distribute the money to the people that made those apps, etc. I can see that, but it's got the same problem that the Amazon App Store does, in that if you uninstall it, all those apps go away too. You know, like the Amazon App Store is the free app of the day, and most of the time they're really shitty apps.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, something magical happens, and they actually release a good app. Like for a long time, I used to keep Amazon on there, just because one time they had the $15 Documents to Go was their free app of the day. So because of that, I had to keep the Amazon App Store installed, and it sucked. It was a huge battery suck, and I don't see Sprint doing much better with it, because if anybody doesn't know how to do software, it's Sprint. The Verizon one, though...
It's pretty invasive.
Yeah, it's based on, this is where you are. This is your current location. So you might be interested in this.
And it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon, so maybe you want like an app to help find lunch. Or,
Mm-hmm.
hey, your friends who also have Verizon phones have this app, so perhaps you would want what they're doing.
So it's less of a app store, more of just really invasive advertising trying to get you to buy apps from them.
So it's like basically a combination of Facebook's targeted ads and people you may know.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the new
Whoa.
thing that Facebook has of where you can now see where all your friends are at all times.
Or like what Twitter's doing.
Oh yeah,
Or
the
Twitter-
I don't trust my spouse type shit.
That's the worst. Yes.
Or like, okay, not to go into another rant, but hey, fuck it, that's the theme of this episode.
Hey, why not? I'm here.
Do you all Twitter?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least you
I
do?
Twitter for Dracarium.
Okay.
I do. I Twitter.
Have you seen the new tweets that have been coming up in your stream that are so-and-so favorited this?
I've not, but I use Tweetcaster on Android. I don't use the web application for Twitter. Because the way that Tweetcaster works is I can basically, like, if I'm like on break at work or whatever, I can stop somewhere and hit my home key and then hit it again and then go right back to where I was. With the regular web app on Twitter, I would have to scroll all the way down. Yes, I know. the regular web app while I hunt wabbits.
Bubble Waffles on Twitter.
Very quickly just happened right there.
You can follow me on Twitter at Merlot Williams.
That just gets worse and worse with your name.
That is going to pop up in a future podcast. You will never know when, but it will happen.
Well. But anyhow.
He just subs it in.
But on the web, on the regular web application, you have to scroll all the way down to where I'm at, like 12 hours ago or whatever the fuck, and then I have to scroll all the way back up. But I have not seen the favorited this.
They're putting in,
It's pretty invasive.
and they're apparently people are getting notifications about it too. Like you already get, if you have the Twitter app installed, the shitty notifications of
this person and this person and this person all retweeted this.
or even just Chris Hardwick and Matt Myra are talking about at midnight.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. That's their job. Of course they are.
Well, and this is on the default Twitter app, correct? Install Tweetcaster.
Which is
Way
starting
better.
to be the only way you can do it because everybody's running out of fucking tokens and nobody wants to make a Twitter app anymore.
Tweetcaster works great.
If you've already got it. I'm pretty sure they're out of tokens now.
What do you mean they're out of tokens?
Twitter only allows any app to have 10,000 users. And that's 10,000 Twitter accounts.
That can't be right.
Yeah. Yeah. So Carbon came out, big, hyped Twitter app. Everybody signed up for it. They ran out of tokens. They're not allowed to sign anybody up anymore.
That doesn't make any
Falcon
sense. How
came
can
out
they, how
because
can
Twitter
they
doesn't want you to use those apps anymore. Twitter wants to be able to shove these advertisements down your throat. And so any app that gets in their way is a bad thing from Twitter's perspective.
I just wish greed didn't rule all the cool things.
I
that used
agree.
to be
All
amazing.
the
All the
cool
things.
Yeah, it's got 10 million downloads. How does that even... That doesn't make sense,
Then
dude.
it's
Try and download it right now. See if you can.
I'm already
Maybe
doing
they
it.
increased the tokens from before. Maybe it was 10,000 so many
You
people
can-
pushed back.
They do say that they will occasionally increase the tokens, but
The fact that it's even suggested that there might be a limit on how many people can use an app is frustrating.
I say yeah because like I downloaded I think 4 or so Twitter apps before I finally found Tweetcaster, and that's the one I've stuck with ever since.
Falcon Pro ran out of Twitter API tokens. Carbon has run out of API tokens. Chris Lacey, the reason Chris Lacey does Action Launcher and Link Bubble, because he started with a Twitter app. I don't remember what it was called. It was really good though. It ran out of tokens. And so he said, you know what? It's not worth my time anymore. I'm never going to be able to make any more money from it because I can't make any more sales and it's not a subscription service. So he stopped doing it. And so what they're doing is they're literally purposefully driving people away from making apps for them. Because
I
they
was
want
talking to
everyone to use the completely horrendously terrible Twitter app.
And it is. It's fucking
bad.
bad.
It's
Like,
got
I
an
re-
action
I-
bar that's wider than my fucking thumb.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I remember the reason I uninstalled it. I think I still had it was either my Moment or my Nexus S at the time. And it was because every time I would close Twitter out, it would log me out. And I'd have to re-log in and type my password in every time.
Okay, so right now, on top of... I just opened the Twitter app. Okay, so on top of it...
for the first time. Did not stop me.
Okay, so they must have gotten a token increase.
Well, download it right now.
Right
before
now,
they run out of tokens.
But no, right now I've got an action bar, a slider activity. So I've got the top buttons, and then I've got a slider between home, discover, and activity. 3 tabs that don't make sense. Home makes sense. Discover and activity, what are those even? And then I've got an ad that's probably a good 2 inches long that says, Twitter is better with friends. Import your contacts to find friends on Twitter. It shows that every time I come in. I have previously imported all my contacts, but I won't shut up about it. And then I have one tweet, and then a sponsored tweet, and a what's happening bar. That's all that is showing on one screen. If I can see one tweet per screen, that's terrible information density.
So right now you're wasting time by telling us how horrible this is and not downloading Tweetcaster.
Well, I use Tweedle. I still have the tokens. Tweedle still has tokens. I love Tweedle.
Okay.
It's just a good, pretty one.
I think you like saying Tweedle.
But, you know, Twitter is doing all these things to push developers away, and then they're also doing things like, I don't want a notification that Will Wheaton favorited a tweet. I like following Will Wheaton, but I follow the things that that person says. Favoriting is not a retweet. If you start showing that in my feed as if it is a retweet, fuck you. If you're going to start saying, you know, these 3 people all were talking about this, I don't care.
I think they're following the model of Pinterest, because that's what Pinterest is doing. It's anytime, I mean, as a photographer, I post a lot of pictures on there to kind of, you know, generate it around the internet, and I get a notification every single time somebody favorites or repins it onto one of their boards.
But we're not talking about when they do yours.
No, but I'm just saying, like,
we're talking about you would see something like, this person viewed someone else's picture.
Right.
Yay!
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of like the same thing. It's like pointless information.
Not even like great. They repinned it. Like, this is something a person liked and nodded their head.
No, I get those.
They didn't push any public button. They just favorited it.
Oh well, I'll stick to Tweetcaster. The only time I ever use even the Twitter web app is when I'm looking to embed something in my news articles, my news wrap-ups.
Yeah, I'm saddened by Twitter, because Twitter is one of those companies that doesn't have a very clear revenue path, but they seem to be saying, oh, well, the only way we can do that is to get more Facebooky. Have you looked at a profile?
Facebooky is getting more Google Plus-y.
Well, have you looked at a profile on Twitter lately?
No.
You would be forgiven for thinking you were looking at a Facebook profile. Large header image, name, column of tweets off to the side, column of information to the left. You can put up famous person's Facebook, famous person's Twitter side by side, and other than the @ in front of the name, it's difficult to tell the difference. It's like they changed the fonts. It's striking. The Verge actually did a post about this a couple days back, about how the Verge, sad Twitter, should be able to give it to me, about how Twitter is just moving away from what it's good at. Twitter is good at, I follow these people because I trust them to give me good curated content, and it's moving more towards, these people are talking to their friends about a TV show. It makes me sad, because Twitter used to be a really good service, a really cool service that was really useful, and it seems to be trying on purpose to move away from that.
I don't know. I used to like Facebook before it decided to start being more Google Plus-y, and now you have to have this separate Messenger app, which he and I have gone rounds about that tons of times.
Not the Messenger app.
Not the Messenger app, no.
Google, yeah. Lots of the Google arguments.
I don't.
The Facebook app gets...
That's where the Johnny to the Joey spawned, is through one of his and I's arguments via Google Hangouts, because it's the only thing he'll use to talk to people.
Yeah, I heard that. I thought you guys just disappeared off the planet, and TJ was like, no, they actually have, like, there's a Google thing that they all talk on. I'm like, oh.
We moved over to Google, and permanently, because I didn't want anyone left out of the conversation, because everybody that was in the conversation was on Google. People left out of the conversation didn't have face crack.
Hey, my business thrives on Facebook.
I don't have.
No one on Google cares.
I don't have a Facebook.
Actually, lots of people on Google care about photography. It's one of their biggest things.
Google Photos is actually. Google Photos is a fantastic service.
Just Trey Ratcliffe, ever heard that name before?
No.
He invented HDR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
kind
use
of a
HDR
big
on.
deal.
Well, maybe he's a big deal for like over 40-year-old men photographers, but for relevant photographers of this day, rarely anybody uses HDR. It looks crappy. Sorry. Not to get all snobby and judgmental. I'm sorry, internet.
This is a gentleman who invented a very popular and widely used camera feature.
Yep.
And he is a very phenomenal photographer himself.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
And whatnot, and he uses Google Plus primarily.
Nice.
And yeah, there's tons of them.
Okay, let's talk about HDR. As far as I'm concerned, HDR is really cool for landscapes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
HDR for people,
No go.
Well, I see a lot of wedding photographers using it, and everything just looks super over sharpened and over contrasted and horrible tones. It's
So sharp you bleed.
your eyes do a little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know shit from apple butter about cameras, so.
I love apple butter.
I also love shit.
Thank you, Jim Cornette, for that that phrase. He's
a good one.
he's a wrestling personality from the South, and he has all sorts of colorful phrases like that.
Apple butter.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm like, why are you talking about apple butter? We don't really have that here. That's not really a thing.
I love apple butter.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So, do you have anything else to talk about in the bonus content before we tell these people to go away?
There's a bunch of stories in here that we didn't get to, but they're not interesting.
Yeah, we've been chatting for a while, and bonus content's just supposed to be an added segment. Not that that 40-minute bonus content before was anything to show for it.
And if you stick around to the end, the reason that I was gone last week, I'm going to go ahead and announce it here, because you should be rewarded for sticking around this long. I actually have an upcoming Geek of All Trades podcast with Cheshire Cat Studios, who I've mentioned a few times on this last podcast. They're compiling it on their end, and I will let you know when it goes live.
Rad. That sounds awesome.
Generally by it being released and you following us.
He'll probably tweetcast it to you too.
I will tweetcast the fuck out of it.
It'll
Twice,
be,
actually.
It'll be up on their site. It'll also be up on ours.
Well, and that's the thing, is I'll do it twice because it posts through WordPress, and then it also posts to Facebook. My Facebook page is tied to Twitter, so it will post from WordPress, then post from WordPress to Facebook, then from Facebook back to Twitter.
All of those things are true.
That's fantastic.
So when you get that lineup of everybody who is tweeting it out at the same time, you'll get Andrew, Todd, myself, James, and then myself again.
I still have not met Todd.
He lives in
Todd's
Pendleton.
fun.
He
Yeah.
comes up sometimes.
I just see his name all the time, and I'm like, don't know you, right? Him and Eric, they're like ghosts to me. They're like unicorns.
Except
He's a
Eric
pretty
lives here.
solid dude.
Yeah.
A solid unicorn.
No, I mean, like, he's a large man.
Oh, alright. He's solid,
He is-
like, he's cool. You're like, no, I mean, like, literally, like a brick.
Well,
that guy.
he's solid, like cool too.
He is solid, like, cool, but, like,
That's
he's
not
a big dude.
Good to know.
Sorry, Todd.
Hi, Todd!
All right. Well, I think the four of us, as you noticed, TJ abandoned us, and that's the first time we've mentioned it.
Which is why we have Chris Hardwick on the show.
Chris Hardwick has
Thank
joined
you,
us.
Chris Hardwick, for being on the show.
The four of us thank you for tuning in for bonus content. We are going to scoot out of here now. Stuff. Pants pending.
And bending. That's the kind of HDR that I like.
This is tastefully